friends. Good evening and welcome to Littleport Christian Spiritualists. I'm sitting down because that's the best angle and people can't see my nose like they used to moan at. For everyone at home, you might notice something a little bit different. I'm running StreamYard from my mobile telephony. So apologising, it's going to be a bit of a short one today because I don't have full control on my phone. But I will do what I can to keep it going. Reverend Alan, unfortunately, will not be able to come on because I haven't quite figured out on jumping between screens yet on my phone. But I'm sure he will post his reading a little bit later on for us. But of course, to the service, to this evening, Littleport, let me hear you. Good evening. Excellent. We have let the world know that in spite of technological difficulties, we are still here. And that is what counts. And I tell you who else is here, my friends. Tonight, I have great pleasure in welcoming a very, very, very dear friend of ours at this church, a wonderful medium, a great friend. And it's all right, I'll move it to you. Oh, okay. Give it up. A Littleport welcome for Reverend John Ennis. So we will be attempting to broadcast the mediumship later on. Wish me luck. But for now, let us begin this service in prayer. As we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together as friends, to unite under your banner of love, of hope, and of friendship, that we might witness the proof and the truth that life is indeed eternal. As we place this service in your care and keeping, Great Spirit, we make the statement as ever, that everything we do will be in the name of love, in the name of truth, and in the name of light. Amen. Amen. Well, friends, it seems very strange sitting down, and I'm not going to. It's time to get on my feet. You're going to have to look up my nose. You guys will be all right. You'll be fine. You over there, behave yourself. Well, friends, let me move my chair so that I can step back a bit at least. There we are. That's better. I feel more in tune and in keeping with the practicalities of the day. Funny thing though, we all have curveballs thrown at us from time to time that tend to upset the apple cart. We've all heard that phrase. We've heard phrases over and over again that describe the situation where you're slightly on the wonk and not entirely sure what's going on. But the important thing, as we have done tonight, is find a way to carry on. And this is what Spirit says to us every time they come through on a Thursday night here in Littleport. I'm sure they will have something to say along those lines when they come through John tonight, to the multitude of recipients that he will reach out to this night. And in all of the other churches and centres and all of the other mediums that work, the message is carry on, keep fighting, find a way. But of course, as I sat, I felt out of place. I felt uncomfortable. It's time to stand up. It's time to stand up and speak and be counted. Forgetting, of course, that it's not that long ago, really, that I used to do my addresses for about 18 months, sitting on my backside, wearing the multicoloured rainbow tutu in my office upstairs. It's strange how we get into these habits and we don't always recognise that they are habits. We find comfort in need in the familiar. We find comfort and need in that which we recognise as being something we are used to. But the truth is, one thing that I have learned, especially over the last few weeks, is that the familiar and the comfortable doesn't always offer the greatest growth. So as much as I gave in and stood up, it's really quite piecemeal. It's nothing in comparison. But when you find yourself in a situation where you do feel out of sorts, embrace the difference, embrace the change, embrace the different perspective that you have. Whether it be sitting down and standing up, that's a literal different perspective. But in life, every time you work towards doing something different, there will always be a new perspective to be had. Now, friends, I'm doing something very, very different at the weekend. I'm going to be back in that office, actually. Funny that. Oh, how good are they? I will be sitting in that chair with a camera pointed and a microphone set up, and I'll be listening and speaking to people over the internet again. But it won't be what you would call my usual order of service. I am going to be attending a conference that's being hosted in America, but over the internet, called Decon 2021, where a group of people of like minds of a Christian faith have decided enough is enough. And it is time to start deconstructing the negativity, the dangerous parts that have been associated with Christianity. And I fell into that particular grouping because most of the times I rarely fit in any one particular box as it is. And they are working towards redressing the mistakes and the errors of the past and the present to build a better and stronger future. They're calling it Decon because it's Christian deconstruction, because the only way to rebuild something is to bring it down to its foundations and start again. No more dictating to people that you should do this and you should do that. No more saying to people, this particular version of a translated text is the only way, and that if you don't accept it, you're going to hell. We're spiritualists. We know that the doors of hell were closed centuries ago. But there are so many people that still use that concept as a battering ram to keep people under control. Understand this. If anyone ever tells you my way is the only way, that you should do this because I'm telling you I'm right, the day you stop questioning that, the day you stop seeking those answers and that truth, is the day you have failed your own faith. Because we should question, we should ask questions, we should understand why people are saying what it is that they are saying, and understand that many times people will use faith and religion, and even the lack of faith and religion, to control, to get one over on people, to take charge and take away other people's right to believe that which they believe. We as spiritualists and as Christian spiritualists know all this to be true. It's exciting to be looking forward to listening to our brothers and sisters all over the world getting ready to deconstruct the negativity of faith and religion. And I will be there listening. I will be there hearing what my friends in the world of spirit have got to say about it too, and passing it on, and then taking notes and passing it on to all of you next Thursday. Because I say this much, I know that they will be successful. And perhaps Spirit will have a word or two to share through me to them that might be of benefit to them. We shall have to see. But one thing can be sure, I will be telling you all about it next week. But remember, my friends, the point, a change of perspective, a new beginning, a fresh start. It might not always be easy to deconstruct those habits of the past. but it can be very beneficial. And certainly, it's the best way forward. Thank you all for listening, and God bless you all. Well, friends, now is the time in our service, normally where we'd have Reverend Alan or someone come up for a reading. Unfortunately, Reverend Alan had one ready, and we couldn't get through to him. So we will let him post it later and see if it connects with what's just been said, and move directly on to the healing. Well, that's a bit shorter than usual, isn't it? So, friends, now is the time in our service when we send out our thoughts to all those who are sick and suffering and in need of comfort. Today, in particular, we have quite a list of names, really. We'd like to send our healing thoughts to Reverend Barbara, who's going to be receiving medical help over the weekend. We have been told, my dear, and we will be thinking of you. And Tracy, our Tracy, who's having her operation actually today. So we send out our healing thoughts for a good recovery and that it all went very, very well. And I'd like to personally ask for healing to be sent to Paul and his family. And of course, anyone else who you know who's in need of healing, of help, and of support. So, friends, let's send out our thoughts. We will begin with the healing prayer, as we always do, and end with the word Amen. As we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother God, here we bring unto you all those who are sick and suffering and in need of comfort, be they sick in mind, body, or spirit, that it may please thee to heal them. This we ask for those we know, for those we do not know, and those who have no one to ask for them. We ask for them now. Amen. Amen. Well, friends, be bold, be brave, and try something new, he says. So, now we come to the main event, the main feature, the part you've all been looking forward to. Our demonstration of, yes, it's your demonstration of mediumship. It's you. He's a what's it, I tell you. But we love him. And of course, for once, the demonstration of mediumship's not the problem. It's whether I'll be able to get the camera right. So don't worry, you're fine. It's me everyone's fearful of. Now, of course, is the time for our demonstration of mediumship, where we will witness that proof that life is indeed eternal, and that message from the world of spirit that John and his helpers in the world of spirit will bring. Should John come to you, please answer in a clear voice. Yes, no, or don't know, because let's face it, we're all blooming nosy and want to know what's going on. And of course, do send your love to John throughout this evening. For now, though, I will say, give a big Littleport welcome, Reverend John Ennis!
It helped sorting out. I'll do mine, didn't it?
There you go. Over to you, sir.
Over to me. Okie dokie. Right, evening everybody, evening all you online people. Nice to be back with you all again. I'm not going to bore you, tell you how I work, because I ain't got the faintest idea. Because I just let spirit come in and I let spirit get on with it. Those of you who have seen me before, you know I can push the boundaries a little bit. Well, I don't push the boundaries, spirit push the boundaries. And we just let them get on with it. And as long as you let them get on with it, then normally everything's all right. I shouldn't really do this, but I'm going to. As soon as I didn't have a reading, I'm going to. I just want to say something that's connected in a way with Reverend Nick. It just had something ringing alarm bells in my head. And it's about, we all spend the majority of our life making us the best person that we can be. So why is it in a split second, you see somebody and you go, I want to be like them. Mm-hmm. Why do you want to be like them? Have they got more money than you? Have they got a nice car? Have they got nice clothes? The only thing with wanting to be somebody else, they're only letting you see what they want you to see. And I want to turn it on its head now and just think how many people who see you want to be you. I says, and I've had people say, oh, I wish I could be like you. And I says, the only part of me you see is me doing mediumship, or is me having a laugh and a joke. I says, if you want to be me, you have to take the whole package. And he went, well, what do you mean? I says, well, there's some days I can't be bothered to get out of bed. There's some days I just sit there like a lemon, doing nothing. There's other days I need a walking stick to get around. So if you want to be me, fine, you can be me, but you've got to take the whole package. You can't just take the little bit that you want. So like Nick was saying, it's about who we are and what we believe in and what we stand up for. Please, 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 just take this on board. You are very special. Each individual is very, very special. You are all put here for a specific reason. So never say, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, because you know what you've got to do. It's just some of us are afraid to come out of our shell. We like to be in the safety zone. Put it this way, 20 years ago, maybe a bit longer than that, if I hadn't had my arm twisted up my back, I would not be stood here in front of you. Because a very kind gentleman, I can call him that now because we get on very well, at the time I didn't, he twisted my arm and I actually got up and started doing messages, which scared the living daylights out of me. For people who know me, I never envisaged giving messages, I never envisaged doing platform. I thought I was just here to be a leader. I said, unfortunately, life's got a habit of changing things. You've got to go with it. So if somebody forces you into a situation, yes, you've got the choice, but go with it, see where it takes you. I said, because there's so much to look forward to, and the more you look forward to something, the easier it is. But be prepared for the ups, be prepared for the downs, because you will have them no matter what you do in life. But it's just about getting out there, making the most of it. And the other thing is, as well, that I want to leave you with, will you please stop saying I am too old? The only time you're too old is when you're upstairs having a cup of tea with your mother. That's when you know you're too old. As long as you're down here and you're still breathing, you're not too old. So never say you can't do something. You can. You may not be able to run a marathon, but you can walk a marathon. You can think a marathon. You can sit in the chair and twiddle your toes up and down. You're still doing something. And just because somebody else does a lot of running doesn't mean to say you can't do something yourself. So whatever life chucks at you, just take it on the chin and make the most of it. And I'll leave all that with you. Sorry if it bored you. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
this is the part where I always end up getting into trouble. I'll go to the lady at the back with the blue jacket on, please. As I'm with you, I've got a lady coming in for you. Now, as this lady comes in and the gentleman operating the phone, he better listen at the same time as well. Because as this lady comes in, she's about 5'3", 5'4". She's quite rounded in the face. She's quite rounded in the body. Bless her heart, she's telling me, she says, oh, my back. She says, I did suffer with my back. I went, why? She said, well, I can't help it. She says, I've got a big chest here. She says, we didn't have enough support in our days. So she says, I had to make the best of everything. Don't fall off your chair laughing. But she, yeah, she's just on about her back. Don't do that. It's all right. She says, she's going, they're getting in the way. They're getting in the way. I says, what do you mean? She says, well, everything's cooked in saucepans. She says, the steam gets everywhere. She says, I've got to be careful what I'm doing. But she's coming in around you because for the lady, she's saying, I know you have problems with your mobility at times. She says, but if you had as many problems as me, she says, then you'd have something to moan about. But she's saying, you've still got your wits about you. She says, and yes, you can still move. So she says, yes, you can still enjoy life. And it's all about looking forwards and moving forwards. To the gentleman on the camera, she's saying, don't give in, don't give up. It will be provided for you to do what you want to do. It's not about going round the houses, it's picking the right straw at the right time. Does that make sense to you?
It really does, thank you.
So you pick the right straw at the right time, you'll be very, very surprised where you can go, she's saying. There is a gentleman coming in, I know it's not Dad, hubby. As this gentleman comes in, I'm being made very, very aware that he's very much a grandfather type figure. He's a gentleman as well who lives for today and wait and see what tomorrow will bring. He says, and if I wake up in the morning, I'll face it head on and I'll just go for it. But with this gentleman as well, I've got to say he's got a very wicked sense of humour. And he's telling me he was the only person who ever laughed at his jokes. He says that's if he managed to get the jokes out. Because he says he used to be in fits of laughter before he even got to the punchline. And when he did get to the punchline, nobody else found it funny. But he says it's just the way he was. And he's also saying as well, he didn't go out of his way to make friends, but he's saying he had a lot of friends. Because he was one of these gentlemen, what you see is what you get. If you don't like it, well, there's the door. I didn't ask you to sit down and talk to me. He's going. So he's here just to give you so much strength and to give you so much upliftment. Right, he's coming to the camera operator now. And now I know that this gentleman, when he had the mind to do it, he had very nice handwriting. And very much, well, what he's showing me, he could write in old English, as I call it, like calligraphy writing. But he didn't need any aids or props, he just did it. And I'm going, well, what's so special about him? He's going, right. He says, the gentleman on the camera, he says, he scribbles. He scribbles and he scribbles. He says, and it's that bad. He says, even he can't read his own writing. So how's anybody else supposed to read their own writing? Read his writing? But what he's saying is, you know that you have got to put things down on paper.
Thank you.
But he's saying to put things down on paper. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. You stuck for a Christmas present. He needs a fountain pen. Because if he's got a fountain pen, you've got to write properly. You can't scribble because you'll get ink all over the place or you'll break the nib. So he's saying write it properly and then you'll be able to read what you've written. And he's also saying for you as well, okay. He says you're a lot stronger than you give yourself credit for. And he said, there's still a lot of people who've got a lot of respect for you. And he says, I know you can't see it at the minute. He said, but things are already starting to change around you. He's saying they started about 10 days ago.
Yes.
He says, and slowly but surely, they're going to gather pace. He said, right, you'll be in a better place within the next 7 to 10 days, but things are just going to keep getting better and better for you. And he's also saying as well, will you be careful what you wish for?
Yes.
He says, because if you don't phrase it properly, he says, everything may come in one go. He says, and then you'll have nothing to look forward to. So he's saying, if you wish for everything in one go, when you get home tonight, just break it down into little boxes so you can deal with one thing at a time. There is a couple of humps in the road, but for what you've gone through this year and last year, he says you'll perhaps go straight over the top of them and not even realise we're there. So it's just about you moving on and moving forwards, and you will move on and move forwards. He's just coming back to the lady as well, because he's saying, as much as you don't want Christmas this year, he says, you will have a Christmas this year. He says, you don't necessarily have to put the decorations up. He says, but just have a little bit of cheer in your heart. Because he's saying, we'll be coming round for a drink. He says, so they better look proper. So he says, even if you just get Christmas doilies out or a Christmas tablecloth, he says, just something, just to make it the day a little bit special. He says, yes, he knows it'll be hard for the two of you. He says, but they're having a party and they will come down and pay you a visit. So you should be having the party as well. So I'm going to leave all their love, strength and support with you and say thank you very much. Can I come to the lady here, please?
Thank you very much.
I've got a gentleman who's coming in for you. Now, I do know a little bit about your ancestry, but I don't know anything else. And I've got this gentleman coming in. As this gentleman comes in, he's a little bit shorter than me. He's quite thin as I see him, but I don't believe he would have been thin if he'd have been free, if that makes sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
But also with this gentleman, now this is a weird thing, and I'm glad you're here tonight because the gentleman actually come to see me this afternoon. Mm. Would you understand him as a rabbi? Or
I would.
You would?
Yeah.
Thank heavens for that.
Well, you might as well, thank heaven.
I thought I was going there for a minute. He said, when she's there, just tell her the rabbi's here. I went, what? He said, just tell her the rabbi's here. I went, okay, but he's coming in around you. And he said he's been waiting a long time. Mm. He says, we do have our little chats.
Yeah.
He says, but now's his time to make himself heard properly. Oh, okay. Yeah. He says, sometimes you get really impatient. He says, because I don't speak fast enough, you go, oh, I can't be bothered. I've got all the things to do. But he's saying, okay. He's saying you've been pressing a lot of buttons recently.
Yeah.
And he says you're doing the right thing.
Okay.
He's making me very aware that you're getting very frustrated as well.
Yeah.
But he's saying you've got to understand you're the wrong side of 25. So, I always say that because then I can't get into trouble. You're the wrong side of 25.
Yeah.
He says so the body isn't as fast as the mind is.
No.
So he says, you've got to learn to slow the mind down a little bit. He says, and then you'll be able to achieve a lot more. But more importantly, it stops you getting frustrated.
Thank you.
But also he wants to thank you. And this is important because he says, in the family, so sidewards, downwards,
yeah.
He says, you keep us all here. Mm. He says, because you talk about us all in the present, not in the past.
Yeah.
And he says, so many people, when we're not here, we talk about us in the past.
Oh, gone.
Yeah. He says, and it pushes us away.
Yeah.
He says, but we're here trying to give you support.
Yeah.
And trying to give you upliftment.
Yeah.
Right. I know I've given writing for the cameraman, but I've got to give writing for you as well.
Yeah.
And he's saying, really? I've not known of that one. He says, you were supposed to write a book 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You were supposed to write a book 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You were supposed to write a book 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We're not on about the spiritualist book, and we're not on about the hymn book.
No.
No. He says, so what's your excuse?
Embarrassment.
He says, you sit there and it's cold and it's raining and it's snowing and the dog's asleep and Kathy's gone out and you go in, I've got nothing to do. I'm bored. He said, well, get the paper and the pen out and start writing the book. He says, because once you get into it, he says, there'll be no stopping you.
Mm.
It's getting that bit. Oh, right. This here is where you've got to take some of your own medicine.
Mm.
None of us like talking about ourselves.
No.
But you need to.
Mm.
Because it will help you come to terms with things that's happened in the past.
Wow.
Yeah?
Mm.
You understand that?
I do understand.
Yeah. And he's saying, I know you can do it. I know you can do it. And I do believe with this gentleman, please take this the right way, he was quite a philosopher.
Yeah.
And he says, you are. So he says,
you.
if you put your philosopher's head on, the words will come easy to the paper.
Okay.
So if you want, distract it from being you.
Yeah.
Make it you, the philosopher, and write it that way.
I really understand that message. Thank you.
Good. Right, it's what he's laughing. He said, which is you want to take a blind bit in.
I do. I do.
There is a lady who wants to come in for you now. Now, as this lady comes in, there is so much love coming to you from her, and there is a great deal of love. Now, this is going to seem very strange to you, because this lady, as I'm saying, she's giving you this love and she's giving you this strength and she's giving you this support. But I feel with her, she wasn't that sort of person on the earth.
Yeah.
She was more the person that, get out with it, I want a bit of peace and quiet, sit in the corner and do as you're told.
Yeah.
You've not eaten your dinner, you can have it for your tea. You've not eaten your tea, you can have it for your breakfast.
Right. I used to go to bed hungry.
Yeah, and that's what this lady was like.
Mm.
But she's saying, since she's been over there, she says she knows where she went wrong. She says, but she doesn't think she could have changed anyway.
No.
She says it's just the way I was.
Yeah.
And she's one of these ladies. She said, why is it all ladies are expected to be mothers? She said, but some of us haven't got a maternal instinct in her body.
That has been said.
Yeah. Because she's saying, if I was born today, she says, I'd make a great headmistress.
But she did.
She was? Or a bank manager. You know, this is what she's going on about.
Yeah.
She says, not being at home, just going,
Yeah, she hated that.
I can't do it. But no, she does come in with a lot of love. But equally as important from this lady, she's so proud of what you've achieved.
Thank you. Thank you.
She says, because no matter what's been put in front of you, she says, you've met it head on. She says, in some situations, it would be very easy for you to do a U-turn or take a step to the side.
Yeah.
But you didn't. You went straight on. And she says, for whatever reason, that will say, for every one enemy you made, she says you made 50 friends.
Thank you.
Because people appreciate you standing up. Would you understand it if this lady says, everybody appreciated you standing up for the minority?
Yes.
Rather than the majority.
Yes.
And she says, you've always been like that and you'll continue to be like that.
Yeah.
She's also saying for you as well, next year. Okay, right. The mask situation and the travel situation will change. So she says you can have that trip that you've been looking forward to.
Okay.
And I know it's on an aeroplane.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know what your finances are like, which she's saying she knows which one she wants, but the other one will be obtainable as well.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. There were two things I was.
Yeah. Well, if it helps you, one, I see sun.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, oh, to go back to stay. And then the other one is you've got your thermals on, you've
Absolutely.
got your coats on, and if it was me, I'd have a little penguin.
Absolutely.
So they're the two that will be achievable for you next year.
Thank you.
Oh. Right. I'm not saying you're going to be a coach or a manager or anything like that, but you will be.
Have been.
I know you have been.
Oh, I see.
Next year you will be. If you're not sitting in the box, you'll be very near the box.
Oh, yeah. I quite understand that.
As long as you understand it.
Yeah.
I keep thinking I'm digging a hole for myself here.
No, you're not really. I'll explain it all to you.
And that's why this lady's so proud of you, because you've had such a diverse lifestyle.
This is true.
But you give everything 110%, and people just don't know where you get the energy from. So she's saying, keep it up, keep it up. She does keep an eye on you, in a nice way.
Yes, of course.
And I've got to leave this thought with you. And I know I talked about something before I started doing the messages. She says, but in a lot of respects, I wish I could have been like you.
Oh.
Because you're strong when you need to be strong. You can be loving when you need to be loving. In her words, you can drag them up when they need dragging up.
Yeah.
But you can also help them out as they progress through life. And she says, I never had that ability, not with her own. You know, teach, give back. Guide, give back. But you don't. You take everybody under your wing, and you don't let them go until they're ready to go.
Well, I don't let them get away.
But,
Thank you, Reverend Nick.
They are coming through with both of them. There is so much love.
Thank you.
And so much strength for you.
Thank you.
Now, I know Kathy does a lot of cooking, and she perhaps hasn't got the faintest idea. So you may have to tell her what to do.
About what?
Because they're just saying baklava bread is better homemade than shop.
Well, I don't think we'll be doing bread in a hurry.
No, you can't have a go, because the only person who's got the recipe is this lady here.
She burns things, that's why.
No, she's got the recipe. So you'd have to be like the lady in spirit, standing. You don't do it that way. You do it this way. You're not going to do it. I'll do it myself.
Yeah, she was like that.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, John, is that everything that you've described about what I'm hoping is going to be next year, my friends who are going to be probably watching this on Facebook will all know what that's all about, because I'm actually the head of the Great Britain Bandy Association.
All right.
And we've got some games. We've got a World Championship for women next year. We've got all sorts of games next year that we're hoping for. And, you know, I would possibly be in a situation where I would perhaps be in a dugout at the side of the ice, something like that. And the coaching and everything like that is sort of tied in with that. And and the book, of course, that's something that I've been worried about, because I would like to write it, but I've been stopped all the time by myself, because I don't want really, you know, nobody really wants people to know the real nitty gritty of your life, you know, in case you bring some kind of embarrassment to other people, you know.
But that's why you should put the philosopher's head on.
Yeah.
Do it as you, the philosopher.
Yeah, I'll do it as if I'm not the person I'm talking about.
It would be so much easier.
But it's interesting, because the rabbi could well be my mother's grandfather.
I don't know, like with him, he doesn't want to talk about it. So I don't know if it was illness or something to do with the war.
Yeah.
Because he would have been quite, he wasn't a big man.
No.
But he looked after himself.
Yeah.
But towards the end, he was very, very thin.
Yeah, he starved to death, basically.
Yeah, and I just feel he was very, very hungry. But he said he had to go without to let others.
That's right. He was in the Warsaw Ghetto, and they all perished.
Yeah.
But he died there. He didn't get to go to Treblinka and get gassed.
Yeah. So, but he is a very lovely man, and he's a very, very wise man as well. So I'm going to leave them two with you.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
I was thinking, digging a hole for myself. Okay. Come to the lovely lady there, please. Right. As I'm with you, I have got a gentleman, but I want to bring this lady. No, sorry, I've got to bring the gentleman forward first, because otherwise I'm going to end up in a lot of problems if I don't bring the gentleman in. Purely because I've got a real tightness in the centre of my chest with him, so I know I've got a lot of breathing with this gentleman. But as he comes in, I feel his strength as he comes in, and I want to say he's a little bit taller than me. I'm 5'8", so I'm going to say he's 5'9", maybe 5'10". He's quite muscular in his build as well, because I'm not seeing him in his later years. I'm seeing him in his sort of 30s, 40s. So he's quite a muscular man. He's telling me he preferred to work outside rather than inside. I'm going, why? He said, I felt like a prisoner, mate, inside. He says, outside, he says, you could do what you want, you could say what you want, and there was no problems with it. And he's coming in around you. Right, okay, sorry, backtrack. Like I said, he worked outside, but he was a very clever man, and he was a very intelligent man at the same time. This is what he's saying now for you. He says, you're intelligent, so why are you letting people take advantage? He says, you know what's going on, and you know what should be done. He says, so sometimes it's all right to take a step back, but other times you've got to take that step forward and say, no, that's not the right way. This is the easy way to do it. So I'm going to say there's two issues around you at the minute. One is in the family and one is in the workplace. The one in the workplace, there's not a lot you can do about it. But keep your eyes and ears open, because very shortly there will be an opportunity for you to advance, and you're to go for it. Don't go, she's been here 5 years longer than I have, or that one's been here 3 years longer than me. You're to go for it. Stop feeling sorry for everybody else. Nobody will feel sorry for you. So they're saying you go for it. The issue in the family, the gentleman saying if he was here, he'd just bang their heads together and then let them get on with it. He says, but you're not like that. He says, but you will say the right thing when you get the opportunity to. And it's all about you now. It's about you putting yourself first for a change. And he says you do need to put yourself first. There's a lady coming in around you now, and she's coming in and she's going, look, you were always a soft touch. She says, even as a child, you were a soft touch. She says, people could take advantage of you. But she's saying, you have got my inner strength. She says, you know what you've got to do. So she says, don't be afraid. Oh, okay, right. Right, I'm going back to the little bit I talked about before I come in. It's about believing in yourself. But most importantly, trusting yourself. For whatever reason, and we don't open it up, but for whatever reason, you don't always trust yourself. They're saying, go for it, girl, go for it. They're also saying as well that your trust in other people is now starting to get a little bit stronger, because your trust has been broken in the past, and you find it very hard to trust strangers or colleagues and some friends. And they're saying, yes, you're all right keeping people at arm's length, But at the moment, the people around you at the moment, yes, they can be trusted. Some people have disappeared, and that's just natural wastage, if you like. Others have disappeared because they know they've done you wrong. And others have disappeared because you sort of gave them that look. And they went, oh dear, we've overstepped the mark, we better go. Because if we don't like to get to round here old, or a bit worse. I'm not saying you've got a temper on you, but you're not Irish by any chance, are you? Well, normally people with tempers like that, they say you've got an Irish temper. It's like dangling a red rag in front of a bull. They'll either charge you, you'll turn around and walk away. And the trouble is, they dangle it in front of you, you don't walk away. You go, yeah, what do you want? What do you want? So at the minute, it's about you coming out of your comfort zone. But this lady does come in with a lot of love for you. And she does come in with a lot of support for you as well. She is bringing a cake in for you also. And she said, it's all right, I've not made it, I bought it. I'm going, why? She said, well, if they had one of my cakes that I made, she said, that's going to the dentist tomorrow. She said, my cakes were always hard. Yes, they used to rise, but they're always hard. She says, and as for the icing, she says, you could put it on the roast. But with her bringing a cake in, that just shows me that there's a birthday or an anniversary either in the last 2 weeks or in the next 2 weeks. It could be a birthday or anniversary down here, or it could be somebody upstairs. But she's making me very aware of a birthday or an anniversary. I know I'm touching my nose and there's nothing wrong with my nose. I've just got another gentleman who's coming in who wants to be remembered to you, who would have passed in a hospital environment. And yes, he had a lot of breathing problems, and that's all he's going to tell me. But I know he's got something over his face, that's why he knows. And he's just saying, as much as people wanted him to hang on, and as much as people wanted to say their goodbyes, he says, I couldn't wait. He says, I have to go. He says he did have the fight in him, but he said he knew when it was time. Because he'd already been told by other people in the family, if you see your mum and dad, or if you see your brother or your sisters, then you know it's time to go. And he said, as much as he wanted to wait and say, let everybody say the goodbyes, he says, you just have to go. But he's also saying about the hospital, that, right, he's on about the angels. When they're talking about angels in hospitals, I want to say it's the nurses. And I want to say there's two specific angels that he's on about. And he says they looked after him as if he was their dad. And he says he couldn't fault them. And he says people should not be worried about. He says he's fine. Right, it's either you have got a young son or there's a young boy in the family. So I don't know if you've got a nephew.
Yeah, I do have a nephew.
And is he under 16?
No.
He's older.
Yeah.
Right. So he's on about a young boy because he goes to visit this young boy. It may be the wrong, but he calls everybody young because of his age. But he goes to visit this young boy because he's been a bit up and down recently. He says, and he's trying to help him. And he's trying to guide him along his pathway. And he says, he will get there. He will get there. And he's going to make a lot of people very proud. He's also saying for you as well that I need to give you 2 keys. One is for a newer car, more for reliability, but also travel. So this may be to do with your work or whatever. But I also want to say travel next year for yourself. So it's holidays or visiting, making up for lost time. But as I'm giving you that, and this is a choice, I'm not saying this will happen because there's lots of things you've got to weigh up. But I've got to give you keys for a new house as well. Because if this is all tying in around work, and I will never tell anybody to leave the job, but it may be you have to go next door, take that step up the ladder, if you can't get it where you are. So then the balancing act gets even harder. I'll move closer? Do I stay where I am? This is when the car comes in. Am I afford to commute? Is it viable? Will I be up to it? So everything's a balancing act. So I'm not going to say you're going to move, but the opportunity will be there for you to move. So it's all about choices for you. Also, as well, on your spiritual journey, will you stop trying so hard? The more you try, the more you push people, push them away. Spirit coming around you when you're very relaxed, when you're chilling out, and I want to say you switch your mind off. You know, sometimes you're just staring into space, there's something comes on the telly, and your sort of mind starts wandering. That's when you see them. And you will see them a lot stronger. They will come in a lot stronger. The reason they will start to come in a lot stronger, your life is starting to settle down now. Because you've had a lot going on this year. But your life will start to settle down. And as it settles down, you'll be able to achieve a lot more. So everything you've been putting on the back burner for the last 2 years, slowly but surely you can start getting into it and doing it. So always be proud of who you are, trust the people who are around you, and trust the new people that's coming into your life. Where the issues are in the family, let them sort it out. It's not your problem. As much as you want to help, sometimes you helping can make things worse. So you say, just keep out of it. But what they are showing me over a period of time, so this could be 3 or 4 months, it could be 12 months. Over a period of time, things will start to come back together again. Very, very slowly. But it's all about people suddenly realising family are important. And you can't buy family. You have to earn that respect, and you have to earn that trust to be part of that family. But the more you do it, the easier it will be. So a great deal of love and strength on people. Thank you. Now come to the bit over there, please. Yeah. Now you've already told me, so I'll put that to one side. Don't you know? Shh, secret.
What? Secret. Oh, oh. Thank you for letting us all know that. We won't tell anybody.
Yeah. I'm going to give I've got a lovely lady coming in. The thing is with this lady, I'm not old school, but she just grab hold of my shoulders and pull us back and stand up. And I'm not going to say it's mother, I'm possibly more than grandmother, but on the other side of the family, but a very old-fashioned type lady. This came to our, although she was very old-fashioned in her ways, she was at the same time quite forward-thinking as well. Because she's saying, if you take the time to listen to the youngsters, you'll be very surprised at what they learn. She said, the only problem is, she said, I couldn't believe what my children were doing. She said, but I cannot believe what my grandchildren used to get. She said, and now I look at what my great-grandchildren. It makes you not to make you pull your hair out. But she's here with you, and there is so much love from her. Right, I've only ever known you with long hair, but at some time you must have had shorter hair. But she's just saying, I prefer you with long hair. And she says she used to take great enjoyment. I feel that she did this, but as she got older, she had a criticism, because she's saying she still like cutting your hair. If you get you to sit still longer. Because you were one of these children, you have itchy feet. Or as we used to say in her day, pants in your pants. You couldn't sit down, you were always on the go. But she's saying you blossom. She says, you were always special, and you always knew what you wanted from life. She said, but even as you progress through life, you've got stronger, and you've got wiser, and you're learning these things. And she said, this is all standing me in good stead. She said, you're already a special person, and you're already a loving person. She said, but now, and she takes the right way, you will be very surprised at the amount of people who actually love you. She said, because you get very embarrassed and get very sorry. But she's saying, you need to take praise where praise is due. You're loved very much by the family, but, and it's hard for you to accept, you are very much loved by your friends and your acquaintances. And although you've not set out to do it, you live your life everywhere you go. It is, because very much like I was saying at the start, people look at you and go, just wish I could have a bit of that. Sometimes it's smiling, just the way you talk to people, how you interact with people. And that's what makes you special. You're always very emotional, where a lot of people have got barriers and do that. You're not like that. And you're very open-minded as well. Sure, you might be open-minded, which still shout and shout. But he's saying you've very much got an inner strength. Right. He's saying this, if it took you, it took you to your mid-30s, you need to realise how strong you were. Others do, but you do it. So whatever happened for 32, 33, 34, and you dealt with it, from your mid-30s, you suddenly went, hey, home. Nothing is that. Nothing favours you. And this gentleman, he does come with a lot of books, he comes with a lot of written. I'm getting the smell of cigar smell. So I don't know if somebody used to buy cigars around Christmas. He wasn't a cigar smoker. But I'm just getting the smell of cigars. Okay. It's all right, I get cold slice as well. Oh, yes. Yeah. So when you get the smell of old slice, and the other half in the sun isn't around, and trouble in the corner not being sprayed on this in the chin yet, it's him letting you know that it's there. And it does be around in the break room, it can be a lot of strength, a lot of support. Yeah, there's another gentleman as well, I can't see him, but I can smell him in the nicest way, because I've got such a smoke, which says he's a pipe smoker. He's not a cigarette smoker, he's a pipe smoker. He's not as tall as me, I'm being told, he's quite rounded in the face, quite rounded in the body as well. He dresses very casually, but he always wears a shirt, and he's told me it's best. It looks like a round t-shirt underneath it. And he's got his sleeves on, but he always has his sleeves on. You imagine it's summer or winter, also with this gentleman, you're maybe too young with the male of the stories, but he likes to show that it puts over later. And as I'm seeing, it's white ivory, ivory. So I don't know what colours on the thing. If you don't like them, if you want to do something, cutthroat rating is still in somebody's possession in the family. Oh, okay. If you find out who's got the box, it's never been opened. So when you were clearing out somebody's house and you pick these boxes up and we chuck them in the loft and put them in the garage and we forgot them in there. I'm also being told that in this box there is a lot of wristwatch. It's not valuable, but it will have a lot of sentimental value. And the sentimental value is really more important than the value. I'm also being shown as well, like this isn't in the box, but it's somewhere in the family. I'm being shown gold coloured cross on the top. And I want to say, the lady told me this was piece of it. One of the shoes was water. So a lot of colour maybe just a few bombs, somebody like today, which is just making me but also saying around you, we're on about your back. So I don't know if you're having problems with your back at the minute, but they're saying it's nothing serious. But if it gets to the stage that you're constantly thinking about it, then have a chat with somebody. And it will get to that very, very quickly. Everything there will be fine. They're also on about your feet and your hands being very cold. And they're saying that that's like a circulation problem. So it's not serious, but at the same time, if it gets to the stage, you know, where it's really annoying you, just have a chat with someone and let them sort it out. And they're just saying, when they take the blood out, it moves away. So they're just saying a blood test will show everything up. So that would be the worst thing. But there is a great deal of strength, love, and support in your body. And put it forward. But the young lady there, you put your hand to your yeah. You know what you need to do, don't you? Yeah. Yeah. And it's all about you looking to the future. Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't matter what she says, you know what he can do. Yeah. When you don't. No, she only pushing, she knows what she wants to do. She's just got to, you're the one who's got to get bored. Yeah. Mum can't do it, Dad can't do it, the brothers can't do it, the next door mate can't do it. Yeah. You've got to do it. Yeah. The minute you do it, you'll be surprised at what you yeah. So much. Yeah. Yeah. You know, so I keep saying to people, I'm an old bald headed fat bloke. Why do you want to listen to me? Right. Have I got time? Yes, I've got time. Into this lady. I'm bringing a lady forward for you. Now, as this lady comes in, I'm being very, very careful what I say here. But with this lady, I'm going to say facially, you two are very, very similar. Internally, you can be very, very similar, but you're not. You're very much chalk and cheese. Yes. But you have still got that, can I say, vicious streak inside you?
Yes, I have. That's been Scottish, dear.
Yeah. But the trouble is, this lady in spirit only worked with her vicious streak. When you put your vicious streak to the back and let your heart come to the front.
So true.
Other people around you may not always agree, but you do. And oh God, Lord, I'm going to end up in trouble here now. They're saying, especially your running pals.
All right, yes.
When you're shouting at 8:10 in the morning, you're not going fast enough. Move on.
You should wake the neighbours up.
I can walk faster than you can run. But no, she's coming in because she needs me to make you very aware. Now, she's taking no credit for this or anything. She says she can only ever take blame if things didn't work out for her.
Yeah.
but she wants you to know that she's immensely, immensely proud of how you turned out.
Thank you.
But she says, you have made you the woman you are today.
Yeah, that's right.
But for the last, for the last 25 years, you have had a lot of rocks supporting you.
Yeah,
The thing is with these rocks, they're still there
yeah.
and they're still supporting.
Mhm.
So much to the extent this lady's saying, you don't understand why you've got so many friends around you who will do anything for you.
Yeah.
And she's saying, it's because of who you are.
Yeah.
You never ask for anything.
No.
You will always do rather than take.
Yeah.
And people now, I know you've got problems we were talking earlier, but she's saying people now know that they can help you because you can't get it there. Because they can move faster than you can.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not a case of people getting their own back. It's more about them being able to help because you can't stop them.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is very, very important. Okay. Normally when people are ill or they feel that they're a burden, the rats desert thinking shit. But in your case, they're all coming in around you,
Yeah,
giving you that support,
yeah,
that strength,
yeah.
because you've got so much. Everybody loves you so much.
Yeah.
The only problem is you still carry around a lot of self-doubt.
Yeah.
And the same you should.
Mm.
Now, this self-doubt, yes, I can hear you.
Mm.
This self-doubt was installed in you by a gentleman as well, not just the lady.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
a gentleman as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I was going to say granddad for a minute, and this gentleman said, don't you dare insinuate it was me because it had nothing to do with me. So I've got to say it was dad.
Yeah. Yes.
Who and this lady, I don't know if it's mum.
It is. Yes,
But
it is.
I've got to say at the same time, as much as they love you now,
Yeah.
they did love you at the time, but they were so caught up in their own lives
That's true.
that they didn't see you.
That's so true.
I mean, you could be there having a tantrum, but because they were so busy either going ham and tom at each other or making up to each other, they just didn't see you.
Yeah, meals flying on the walls.
Yeah. Okay. They're also, I'm just being, right, I'm going to let Grandad come in. Because as Grandad comes in, he's going, you taught yourself, sorry, you drew yourself a map to show you where the kitchen was. And you taught yourself how to cook.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes, she did.
You were very, very afraid.
Yeah.
But you got on with it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And she says, you started off with what you knew you liked.
Yeah.
He said, you did struggle with toast. You were all right with your beans, but you struggled to get the toast on the plate to put the beans on top. Grandad says I'm not even allowed to say about fried eggs.
It's more like the frozen carrots that are still frozen.
They were crunchy.
They were crunchy.
I want to know what she did with the fried egg.
Nothing
She's
much.
exploding one, she is.
Yeah, Kathy used to make them black round the outside.
Well, the fried egg is showing me. It looks burnt on the edge,
Yeah.
more in the middle.
Yeah.
Because you still see all the jelly around the yolk.
I don't like my eggs like that anyway.
So, but no, Grandad, as I say, Grandad is he's totally opposite to the other two.
Oh yeah.
He's a very loving man. He's a very understanding man.
Yeah.
And I do need to say to you, although you are aware of it, you don't always believe it. Because you think you've got a bit of this lady, mum in spirit, and you think you've got a bit of dad in.
Yeah.
Granddad's going, no, you haven't. He says, you take that.
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah.
He says, that's where you get everything from the heart.
Yeah.
because he's saying his son turned out the way he did because he wasn't strong at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that must be
Yeah.
true.
He said, but he couldn't be strong. It's not that he was a softie,
No.
but he was just a loving and caring gentleman.
Yeah.
And for his generation, that was very, very hard.
Yeah.
Because most of them were very hard-faced men.
Yeah.
But he was happiest when he was at home surrounded by children.
Yeah.
And he says he loved Christmas.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
He says, I don't care if I'm 40, 50, 80 or 90.
Yeah.
He says, I still got on the floor and played with all the toys.
Yeah.
He says, the only thing is nowadays, he says, he couldn't play with the Lego because bits of that.
That's true. That's true.
He says, even in his day, the bits were too small
Yeah.
for him. Because he's on about he had shovels for hands.
Yeah. Yes.
So I know he was a very hard-working man.
Yeah.
But I do feel with him, I don't know if he had heart condition, but I've just got pins and needles in the end of my fingers.
Yeah. Yes.
So I know he had a lot of nerve damage in his
Yeah.
hands,
Yeah.
which limited him to a lot of things that he would have liked to have
Yeah.
done. But he's here. There is a lot of love for you. There is a lot of strength. And there is a lot of support.
Okay.
Now, I've got to give you a new car. I'm aware of what's happened. I'm aware of what's happened. But this is the important bit.
Right.
You need to get a tape measure out. You need to measure your chair from the floor
Yes.
to the seat.
Yes.
And then you've got to sit in it and measure from the floor to the seat.
Yeah.
Then you've got to go to the lovely lady sat next to you
Yeah.
and measure her
Yes.
chair
Yes.
from the floor to the seat, and then measure it again when
Yeah.
she's sitting in it.
Yeah.
Now, regardless of what car you like, take your tape measure with you, and measure the seats.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if the seats are the right size, then that's the car. you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
I know it sounds daft, but that's what I did with my
it's
last
No,
not.
no, no,
car.
it's not
No, it's
daft
not.
at all.
So
No.
when you're looking for this newer car, that's what you need to do.
Yes.
Have your tape measure the seats so you know what you're looking for.
Will
It's
do.
very relevant.
Yeah.
Also, as well, think you don't eat turkey,
Oh, I do.
yeah?
I love turkey.
Why have I got to give you a duck
No idea.
to roast?
No. Oh, we've done duck, haven't we?
We did.
But
We gave it to a next
We
door
did.
I've
neighbour.
got a bad experience with them.
Yeah, we did.
Kathy overdid it.
That's what the book's about then. Because all the things, ask her about the duck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Cooked
it was a joke. Yeah,
Yeah.
long
So-
time ago, of
Right,
course.
on about the duck. I know you've been laughing about the carrots,
Oh, yes. Yes.
but the
Peas.
green cabbage,
All right.
Brussels sprouts,
Yes.
the water's supposed to be boiling and there's supposed to be salt in it first.
All right.
Because if you
Okay.
don't put the salt in it and you put your veg in it,
Right.
your green cabbage will go white and your Brussels sprouts will go.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So you want,
Yeah.
boiling water
Yeah.
with the salt in.
Right.
and then put
Okay.
your
I
greens
usually
in.
steam. I usually steam them.
Well, if you steam them, that's fine, but
Yeah.
make sure the water's boiling
Yeah.
first,
Will do.
because you'll go, "Ooh."
That's her.
So it's about having everything in its place.
Yeah.
And also as well, right, I know they're on about Christmas, but they're also on about Sundays.
Oh, yeah.
You've got a habit of not checking the oven.
Oh, right.
So
Okay.
you put things in and you sit there and you're chatting there. I can't smell everything.
It is her.
So
It's
you know,
not me.
It is
you
you.
know, I can't smell anything.
It's probably true.
Can we just have an argument here?
That's turned, but that's not switched on, so that won't
Yeah,
work.
no, we do have a problem with the oven.
Yeah, we do.
Working out how it works.
It's a new one.
That's what
You
I'm
see.
just
Yes.
showing you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank
So
you.
they're saying keep checking it, keep checking it.
Will
And if
do.
you can't smell it, then you've done it wrong. So it's just about staying on top of
Or if
everything.
it burns, we've done it
Yeah.
wrong.
If you can't smell burning, we're having lettuce.
No, well, you should smell it before it starts burning. You can either turn it down or turn it up.
Yeah.
Okay. There is another lady who wants to be remembered to you. And with this lady, I get a reflux type condition with her. I don't want to say she's family. I want to say she's possibly more of a friend.
Right, okay.
Okay, as I said to you, friend, she went, no, sister. I don't mean a physical
Right,
sister,
yeah.
but somebody that she would talk to you, you
Yeah,
would talk
yeah.
to her.
Yes.
And she comes in around you with a lot of love, with a lot of strength and support.
Thank you.
And she wants to thank you for being here.
Thank you.
But more importantly, she says you've not changed.
No, I won't ever.
She says long hair does suit you.
Yes, thank you. Step it short, yeah.
I know you get a headache at times with it.
Yeah,
She said, but it does suit you.
thank you.
She says you keep it.
Thank you.
Okay. And anybody that bought anything for Christmas, you better take it back to the shop because they're saying your skin still immaculate today
Wow.
as it was when you were 18.
Wow.
So she says you don't need to wear makeup.
Yeah, thank you. No, I haven't got any on tonight.
No, so if anybody's bought anything for Christmas, they can take it back to the
Yes,
shop.
thank you.
Nobody would dare buy. Nobody would.
Yeah, we all need to get out of jail card, didn't we?
No, not with Kathy.
No, that's what I mean.
Not if I had a black eye before we got married.
So,
That's a get her into jail.
so I'm gonna. This is the hard part. Mum and Dad. First of all, need you to understand that it comes from the heart that they are sorry.
Yes, thank you.
They don't expect you to accept it. They know you will accept it at some time, and they're saying whenever you're ready, that is fine. But on top of that, they do send you all their love
Thank you so much, John.
and so much respect for you also.
Thank you.
Grandad, on the other hand, he says, she's just my little girl who I used to bounce on.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I'm really all that.
God bless. Thank you so much, John. Excellent. Thank you so
I didn't
much.
want me to finish. One way to back that I didn't get to, but hey, ho, hope everybody online enjoyed the evening. I hope you could hear it. I hope everybody here
It was
enjoyed
wonderful.
the evening.
Thank you.
I can only pass on the messages that I am given. And I'm just very thankful that tonight I had different people come through and I had them come through a different way, which I did ask before as the service was starting.
You even had 2 rabbis.
And
You
two
didn't know,
authors.
but there's my mother had 2 rabbi grandfathers.
So thank everybody for coming. Absolute pleasure. Please, everybody, enjoy your Christmas. Doesn't matter what the government say. You know your own environment. You do what you need to do. I'm going to leave all that with you and hand you back to Mr. Nick.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Reverend John Ennis! Right, let's move this background here. I can actually sit it against something now. Everyone at home, I hope you appreciate the fact that I carried you throughout the whole service. My dear. Oh, wow. The limb of I've built up about 6 inches of muscle a night in this wrist. Shut up. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, Reverend John Ennis! Well, friends, a bit of an unusual way of working tonight, but as we've been talking about all night, change of perspective. Speaking of which, I am reminded, before I get in too much trouble, because we will be saying goodnight to you in a second, I just have to go and show you tonight's Bullies special. Oh, can't get the angle right, look. There we go. Oh, that's better. That's tonight Bully special prize. Look at that. Beautiful piece of encaustic work. Thanks to the work of this lovely young lady. So, it's like the hand of fate. The hand of fate. It points at, but of course, there we go. So, my friends, let us join together and close this service in prayer. As we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, we thank you for the opportunity to come together as friends, to unite under your banner of love and hope and friendship, and witness the truth and the proof that life is indeed eternal. As we go out into this world, Great Spirit, we ask no more than this. Do not move the mountain. Just give us the strength to climb. Until we meet again, in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Well, friends, once again, a big thank you to everyone for all that they do and all the hard work. A big thank you, of course, to the excellent demonstration of mediumship from Reverend John Ennis and his guide. I don't get in so much trouble if I mention them. And of course, thank you all at home for joining in. Hope the sound was as good as the camera looks, at least. No asking for this camera next week, though, please. I will have all the technology sorted by next week, I'm sure. But until next week, from all of us here at Littleport, good night, God bless. And from everyone here, good night. And now I will hit the right button, I hope. But there we go.